We've been going through a series called How to Neighbor. First, we talked about what Jesus has to say about loving people who are different from us. Then we talked about what Jesus had to say about loving people who are lonely. Today, we turn our attention to what Jesus has to say about loving people in need. In Matthew 25:40, Jesus said, "Whatever you did for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." Perhaps that's why Proverbs 19:17 says, if you help the poor, you are lending to the Lord. You're literally serving God by serving people who are in need. In 1 John 3:17 and 18, there's a verse so powerful that it stuns me into silence when I hear it. John said, "If anyone has material possessions and sees a brother or sister in need but has no pity on them, how can the love of God be in that person?" He goes on to say, "Dear children, let us not love with words. Do not love with just words or speech, but with actions and in truth." That's why it was so world-changing when Jesus rode into Nazareth. He walks into the temple, opens up a scroll, and reads out of the book of Isaiah. Says, "The Spirit of the Lord is on me, because he has anointed me to proclaim. The Spirit of the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind. He sent me to set the oppressed free and to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." Just a couple verses later, Jesus says, "Those words have been fulfilled in your midst." In other words, Jesus is saying, I fulfilled these words. Jesus says, that's me. I came to bring good news for the poor. I came to set the prisoners free. What we need to understand is this: Christ saves. Christ heals the brokenhearted. Christ is the one who sets us free. So we know that the Bible says, without a doubt, that we have a responsibility to love our neighbor. And this can take a lot of different shapes depending on where we're at in life. But what does this mean for us if we don't have a lot? What does this mean for us if we don't have a job? What does this mean for us if we're in school and our parents are working two jobs just to get by? Well, first, we got to pay attention. We talked about the Good Samaritan a few weeks ago, right? He wasn't looking for some poor soul to save. He saw a need in front of him, and he used what he had with him at that moment to respond. What needs do you see in your neighborhood? How can you be a part of the solution? Second, you have to use what you have. You see, in Mark 12, Jesus talked about a woman who gave her last coin and a rich man who gave a whole bunch, and said that the woman who gave her last coin did more than the rich guy. In Matthew 19, Jesus told a rich man to sell everything he had and give it to the poor. You see, Jesus wants you to use what you have to serve your neighbors. It's not about how much cash. It's about whether you're using your gifts, you're using your talents, you're using your strengths to serve. What are you really good at? What do you have a lot of? How can you use that to make a difference in someone's life? Lastly, you have to work together. In Acts 4, it says that in the early church there was no one in need because they brought what they had to the community. When your neighbor has tomatoes and you have lettuce, if you're working together, you got yourself a really nice salad, right? So who do you know that you could work with to help someone, to solve a problem? When we work together, we're more powerful than we are when we're by ourselves. You don't need to be a millionaire to change your neighborhood. You just need to pay attention, share what you have, and work together.